Who has the best rogues gallery in Marvel Comics? This is Nerdist Now. Villains. We love them, for the most part. The fictional ones, of course. Nobody's a fan of Cap'n Crunch, that war criminal. There are so many famous lunatics in pop culture. Multiple Darths, the Tannen family line, Nate from The Devil Wears Prada. And for over 60 years, Marvel Comics has provided some of the best villains to that long list of antagonists. Many of which have been elevated over the past few years thanks to movies and TV. Like the Tracksuit Mafia and Hawkeye. Still no Ruby Thursday, though. Cowards. Cowards, I say! But which Marvel hero or team has the best rogues gallery? Well, that's what we're here to answer today. We're counting down Marvel's most iconic characters' respective recurring villains, from least impressive to the very best. And if you want to dive a little deeper, Eric Diaz has you covered over on Nerdist.com. Seriously, go read Eric's stuff. You'll find yourself in a comic hole that Mole Man can't even get out of.
Yes, it is I, the great Mole Man.
The Hulk. The Hulk is one of comics' most iconic heroes, not just Marvel's. Have you heard? He's incredible. But his villains are pretty one note most of the time. There are two really great exceptions to this, his equally gamma-powered adversaries, the Abomination and the Leader, who we've both seen in the MCU. But most of his other villains are just other big monster guys, which, isn't a bad thing, it's just kind of samey. Now, if you count all the Marvel heroes the Hulk has fought, like Wolverine, The Thing, Thor, Iron Man, and everyone else, the Hulk might honestly be at the top spot of this list. But he's not! Iron Man! Look, Tony Stark is a fantastic character. Nobody is arguing that.
Yeah.
But we all have to agree that his rogues gallery is a bit of a snooze. Besides the Mandarin, who creates a cool magic versus science dichotomy, most Iron Man villains are just rich dudes in armor. Ironmonger, Crimson Dynamo, Titanium Man. Seeing a pattern? And Whiplash? Dude has a bird. Birds aren't scary.
I want my bird.
Well, okay, nothing's impossible. Are we talking about, is this a bird back in Russia?
Not even Sam Rockwell playing a footloose Justin Hammer can make these metal dorks cool. Iron Man 2, the only thing his dance moves couldn't save. Doctor Strange. The Sorcerer Supreme has some powerful and visually memorable villains, mostly because most of them look like they belong on a prog rock album cover that your dad won't stop playing for you at 3 in the morning. Dormammu in the comics looks just like a ball of fire with eyes on a human torso. Add in a few more like Nightmare and Despair and Shumagorath, and Strange's villains easily qualify as the most psychedelic. But that doesn't get you to the top spot. Just ask the Alan Parsons Project. Daredevil. In his earliest days, Matt Murdock didn't have the coolest villains. He had baddies like Stiltman and the Jester to contend with. Yes, the Jester, a villain totally not inspired by a different clown. And while villains like the Owl served as a decent foil, it wasn't until Daredevil comics got Frank Millerized that he started to get greater adversaries like the Hand, Typhoid Mary, and Miller turned Bullseye into one of the most dangerous psychos out there. He also took Kingpin and totally made him his own, to the point that some fans don't even realize the big guy was a Spidey villain first. The Fantastic Four. Look, we get it. The Fantastic Four movies might not have been the film franchise that Spider-Man, X-Men, or the Avengers became. But in the comics, they are still Marvel's first family, and that designation comes with some of the best super science freaks in all of comics. Not just Marvel, all of comics. Like Mole Man.
The great Mole Man.
Their villains are so great, in fact, that other Marvel heroes usually have to fight them. Doctor Doom just can't mind his own business, apparently. Super Skrull seems like a good foe for the Avengers, too. And let's be honest, Galactus is everyone's problem. The X-Men. Marvel's Merry Mutants didn't start out as the publisher's biggest franchise, but a few of their early Stan Lee, Jack Kirby villains were iconic, mainly Magneto, Juggernaut, and the Sentinels. Most other early X-Men villains were deeply forgettable, or just random US senators, which we get, it's believable. But then, X-Men exploded in its second time at the bat in the 70s into the 80s with game-changing writers like Chris Claremont. We got the Hellfire Club, Apocalypse, Mojo, and Mr. Sinister, just to name a few of the big names that spawned from this era of the comics. But their biggest villain turned out to be one of their own, Cypher. And then right below him was Jean Grey. The movies haven't done the best job adapting the Dark Phoenix saga to the silver screen over the years, but with the X-Men eventually coming into the MCU, we can cross our fingers that one of the best comic book arcs ever finally gets the film treatment it deserves. But honestly, the X-Men have so many great villains, the MCU could use only baddies who haven't been in a movie before and be just fine. Spider-Man! Come on! You knew it was going to be this. People who don't even read comics know who the Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus are, and many of Spidey's rival goons have a deep personal beef with the Wallcrawler, which lends pathos to their decades-long rivalries. Spider-Man has had 8 live-action films, not to mention the Spider-Verse movies, and there's still plenty of villains left that could ruin Peter Parker's day up on the big screen. Maybe even the Human Fly?
Human fly here. Come on! I stayed up all night dyeing my underwear.
And there you have it. That's our ranking of the best toxic friend groups in Marvel Comics. Honorable mention to the Wrecking Crew. But tell us, what hero do you think has the best villains in the Marvel Universe? What villain do you want to see in the MCU?
The Great Mole Man.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in pop culture, make sure you stay tuned to Nerdist.moleman.